Okay. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a great day today. Okay. I know I started kind of late today, but I just had like a lot of things to had a lot of things to do. Oh, that sucks. Um oh, okay, hang on. Okay, let me just post this on Twitter here. Can you guys hear me good? Uh Hey Zach, how are you, man? Chaz, can you invite me again? I don't know what happened, it just threw me out of the lobby. Uh, what's wrong with Escape from Tarkov? Hey, I'm from India. It's 10:30 here. Oh, hey, Dan. Battle State games are charging $250 for an update on Tarkov. What the hell? How is that supposed to work out? Hey guys. Okay. Uh Chaz, can you send me an invite to the lobby, please, that you were in before? It crashed. It threw me out. And they lied about a previous $150 bundle, including all future DLC. What? No, I'm fine. I'm not tired, dude. I'm gonna... I'll look this stuff up here in a moment. Hang on, let me see here. You guys said it was, let me see here. Escape from, let me look this up. Escape from Tarkov update, let's see here. New $250 pay-to-win edition? What the hell? Earlier today, the unheard edition of Escape from Tarkov was announced as part of the latest patch, and promising a brand new player versus environment mode and other bonuses. Now that the edition has launched, fans are not happy with the bonus it gives and has massive $250 price tag. What the hell? I've never heard of a video game being $250, let alone an update. The first issue that fans have is the player versus environment mode for Tarkov is excessive to those who buy the new edition. This is despite the fact that anyone who purchased the old Edge of Darkness edition was promised all future DLC as part of the season pass, which you would think would include this new mode. Oh man. A lot of fans who have the EOD edition are rightfully very annoyed that they now have to upgrade the EOD edition, which costs $100 in order to play it. However, some posts in the official Discord tried to explain why BSG thinks this is not DLC. It ain't DLC, it's a unique feature of the new edition added, said Discord user, oh my god, who is the lead community manager. It's not DLC, it's a unique feature of the new edition. Oh man. DLC means additional downloadable content. PvE is a feature in a game mode. They added in another message. Oh my god, this is so stupid. Wow, that's ugh. Have you seen, what's been going on at several universities? It's, look, I'm not gonna get into the politics of it. Thank you for the super chat, Mario, but the only thing I'm gonna say about this is that, you have the freedom to protest in America, but you know what you don't have the freedom to? you don't have the freedom to harass people and also block streets. You don't have the freedom to do that. So you have the freedom to protest, but you don't have the freedom to harass people and block streets. And that's what people don't understand. A lot of times what happens is protesters will block the streets, like they'll just sit and block the streets, or they'll block buildings. And what ends up happening is when the police move them, they will say, oh, you know, you're violating my free speech, you're violating my right to protest. No, you can protest all you want. You just can't block streets, and you can't block people from going into buildings. It's literally like when you are blocking somebody from leaving a building, or you are blocking somebody from entering a building, you're kind of holding people there. You're kind of, you know, holding people against their will if you're not letting them leave a building. So that's, I need everyone to help me here. I'm having issues with my PS4 hand-me-down, and the controller refuses to work, both connected and not. Sometimes it flashes an orange light. Is this the console? I've never heard about a controller flashing an orange light. It does flash kind of a yellowish, you know, more yellowish color, like when it's charging when it's off. But I've never heard of a controller that is, that's doing that specifically. No, thank you for the super chat, Blade. I'm not sure what the solution to that would be, Blade. This is the first time I'm hearing about a problem like that. It really makes me sad because Red Dead Redemption 2 is such a beautiful game, and online could have even been more fun and exciting. Yeah, I really wish we would have had more updates. I mean, the last update came out in 2021. Like, think about that. Like, think about just the amount of content I could have made on the channel on Red Dead Online in those 3 years since the last update. Like, the amount of videos, the amount of guides I could have made on new updates. Like, I could have done so much content on this game if they had added more updates. And it kind of pisses me off, too, because it would have helped my channel grow. So it's like, I don't know why, like, you know, why they abandoned the game, because there was just so many people that liked the game and wanted to play the game. Can I do a Last of Us playthrough? I will one day, yes. Well, the thing about that, Officer Soldierist, there are a few cases that don't involve murder in Ace Attorney, but most of the time people like murder cases. Murder cases are the most, are always the most, interesting in Ace Attorney. Playing some Hitman Freelancer. I'm gonna have to have a video on Hitman Freelancer soon. What is the best thing to do when waiting for trader goods? Buy, supplies for the Moonshine, have that producing, and do collector. Yes, we'll do a GTA 4 stream on the 29th. We'll do that. Okay, yes, I'll probably play New Vegas. You know, I wanted to make like a lore video on some of the things in Fallout 3, like when I'm done, like specific topics in the game, like giving my thoughts on certain characters and, certain things that happen in the game. But right now, my main focus is the Claude lore video. The Claude lore video, I would say like 70% of the script is done. And pretty much, I would say 90% of the recording is done. So like, when I say recording, I mean like the clips of Claude. Like, you know, the cutscenes and all that stuff. So there's a few more cutscenes I have to record with Claude, and just 30% more of the script to do. But then, you know, it's going to be a really good video when I put it together. And also, if you guys could use free aim, because I'm just using free aim just so we could, you know, make it more fair to for everyone. You know what I want to do? You know what my first Fallout lore video that I want to make is my first Fallout 3 lore video. I want to make a video on Vault 106. If anybody doesn't know what Vault 106 is, remember that vault in Fallout 3 where there's all the insane survivors that attack you? And remember how there's that one survivor at the end that attacks you, just survivor? Like, I was thinking about making like a lore video, like what happened in Vault 106 and who is the survivor at the end. Like, I was thinking about making that. Because the thing about Fallout lore hasn't explained who the survivor is at the end of the vault. Like, at the very end of the vault, like, when you get to the very, very end of the vault, there's, like, a single survivor that says survivor there, and they're wearing, like, a lab coat, and they attack you. And they're the toughest enemy in the entire vault, and it doesn't, you know, they've never explained exactly who that survivor is. So I was thinking about making, like, a video on, explaining basically what happened there. So satisfied that clickbait is going downhill. Well, clickbait is not as common as it used to be. The clickbait was the worst in like 2017. I would say 2017 was the worst with like clickbait. It was out of control then. No, I haven't. What's the controversy with the crew? Speaking of Fallout, are you aware that you can press F5 to quick save? I didn't know that, General's Alert. Thank you for telling me. That's a useful tip. Yes, I'll also play the other Fallout games one day. Pro, I'm sorry I don't have anything to donate for you right now. I'm saving up right now. Mr. Waifu, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to apologize. You've made so many donations to my channel over the years. I appreciate it so much. You don't have to apologize, and you're a channel member too, so don't apologize for that. I will never ask people for donations. When people do make donations, I do greatly appreciate it, and I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot, but don't feel like you have to give me donations, guys. I would only if you truly think that I deserve it. Like, don't feel like you have to give me donations. I will never guilt trip anybody. I will never like try to, guilt trip somebody and tell them that they're like a scummy person for not giving me a donation. I don't do stuff like that. I believe that a YouTuber gets donations when their audience thinks they deserve it. I can't stand YouTubers that try to guilt trip their audience into stuff like that. Nobody owes a YouTuber a donation. It's only if the person really thinks that they deserve it, the viewer. LA Noire playthrough or Mafia 3. We will do LA Noire. We will do LA Noire soon. Let me actually look up what was LA Noire's release date. I think it was May, right? Let's see. LA Noire's release date was May 27. Okay, let me see here. Watch Dogs was released May 26. Okay, because I wanted to do Watch Dogs in May, but I might do LA Noire too. So we might do that because it was I hate the YouTubers who ask for it desperately and get mad at the viewers, and those YouTubers are scum, and I would not watch those people. Thank you, Snoopy, and thank you, Agent Reaper. Hello, Pro. I've been watching you since 2016. Love how the channel grew. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, Steel Hero. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Okay, just 1 second here. Okay. Where's it here? Okay. How's your Spanish? Yo estudio español todos los días. Yo estudio español en programa de teléfono. That's what I would say about that. Yeah, I'm trying to get better. I started again. I'm on I do like 10 minutes of Spanish every day, so I'm trying to get better with that. Thanks, Pro, for LA Noire. Have you played Mafia 3? I haven't gotten far in it, but I'll play it one day. But no, have I been to Michigan? I've driven through Michigan. I haven't really been in Michigan. Little Big Planet servers are closing? Oh wow, I didn't hear about that. But that's pretty good Spanish. Thank you. What I tell you, you know the thing that messes me up with Spanish the most. What messes me up when I'm speaking Spanish or trying to learn Spanish is when I'm supposed to use S, or ESTA. Because it's kind of like this as far as I know, S and ESTA is kind of like the same thing, but it's like different phrases you're supposed to use it. And so it kind of that part kind of always confused me when I use S and ESTA. It's just trying to figure out what's the best word to use on that time. Let me see here. But one other thing that I'll tell you, the YouTubers who guilt trip their audience, the YouTubers who are guilt tripping their audience, most of the time what they will do is hang on, let me see here, which one we're gonna look at. This one. I saw your videos of Deborah, GTA 5. Oh man, she reminds me of my ex-girlfriend, much worse than Deborah. Thank you, Agent Reaper, for the super chat. Okay, but what I was, oh, wait, no, this isn't what I want to do. So the YouTubers, wait, what doesn't sound good? The YouTubers who have been guilt-tripping their audience, right? What they tend to do, they have the same strategy where they will basically tell their audience, oh, you know, you get free content, and so therefore you have to, you know, you have to give me a donation. But the thing about this, what I'll tell you about those YouTubers, is those YouTubers are speaking a bunch of nonsense. And the thing about this, I think Chas is AFK right now for a moment, but the thing that I'll say about this, when you hear those YouTubers that tell you that they're giving you free content, they're not. They're giving you look, here's the thing. If you watch a YouTube channel, right? Even if you have never donated to a YouTube channel, you are still supporting that YouTube channel and you're still helping that YouTube channel make money. How? Because think about it this way. If you subscribe to a channel, right? You subscribe to a channel, you watch a channel, you like the videos, you give them a view, you give them a like. It helps the algorithm. It helps the channel get more recommended. Most YouTubers, they get the vast majority of their money from ad revenue. They don't get it from donations, so they get most of their money from ad revenue. And so even if you are not supporting a YouTuber directly through donations, you are still supporting a YouTuber just by watching their videos. Just by watching their videos, you are still supporting a YouTuber and you are helping them make money. So when you hear those scummy YouTubers to basically just tell you, oh, you have to donate to me because you'll get free content, don't listen to those people, because you're still helping them make money. Because you're watching their videos, you're watching the ads that come up on their videos. Even if you skip the ads, you're still helping them make money on that. So the second that ad pops up on that, you are still helping them make money. So that's what I say is, that don't listen to those people that just basically say, oh, you know, you have to give me a donation, blah, 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 this, because you get free content. If you were truly getting free content, the stuff would not have any ads in it. If it didn't have any ads on it, then it would be true free content. But if it has ads on it, it is not free content. So just keep that in mind. So just know that you're. So if you hear a YouTuber just tell you, give me donations, I give you free content, tell them, no, I watch ads on your channel and you make money from that. You just tell them that. Estar, temporary feelings, emotions, Sir S, titles, personality, more permanent things. Yeah, because I'm trying to get better at Spanish, but it's just when I'm using the number one thing that I get confused on when I'm trying to speak Spanish is when I use esta and s. It just confuses me so much. I just get thrown off by that so much. So if I super chat, you'll respond? No, you don't have to super chat for me to respond. I'll respond to any comments. Wait, what's funny? Truth of DSP? You gotta play Far Cry 3, bro. You'll love it. I'll play Far Cry 3 one day, yes. When is the iZonzo stream? I'll do one day. I want to make a video on it too. Do you think Sweet as an NPC was intentionally programmed to be useless, or is his AI broken? He is He's just like, that's just how his NPC is. Most of the NPCs are like that. What's your free aim settings? Is complete free aim. No auto block. You look like the YouTuber Borko, the guy who uploads Sopranos clips. Do I think Daniel Lamb can be found in GTA San Andreas? If you're talking about is he Zero, no. If you're talking about whether his if you're talking about whether his home is in San Fierro, it is, but we don't know exactly where it was. Oh, my Rise of the Ronin is missing some parts. Hold on a second. Let me actually fix that right now. Thank you for telling me. Okay. Yeah, Rise of the Ronin is missing a bunch of them. I guess it's one of the streams just don't get put in it automatically. Okay. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna fix the Ronin thing right now. Thank you for telling me about that. There we go. It's fixed now. Thanks for telling me about that. The video game South Park Snow Day 2024. I'm surprised cost $28.99. The game is brand new. 2024. How long is the game gonna be? Yeah, he is a wanted man in Drifter Kids. Tomaste agua. Well, I don't know what the first word means. I know the second one means water. Have you considered doing a top 10 dumbest GTA fan theories? Yes. That's actually on my list to do. I'm not gonna get into the politics, M crew. I stay away from politics on streams. When will you play Ronin again? Early next week. It means drink water. Isn't drink water baby? So isn't that like, you would tell somebody bebe agua? Isn't that what you're supposed to say? Oh, it means did you drink, water? Oh, yes, earlier. What are your top 5 games? GTA 4, Saints Row 2, Hell Let Loose, Skyrim.
You cut me loose.
No, I haven't, Mr. Nowhere I'm Gonna. I think it does work, producing during that time, Pro 193. No, I've never done a playthrough of Uncharted. Yeah, I know about that, Phoenix. This one is the horse for the trader, I know that. And the other one is, the other one I used the Black Arabian horse. If you like Red Dead games, franchise Cowboy, you should watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Clint Eastwood, world's famous movie in history. Yeah, I mean, I could I gotta watch that one day too. He has a lot of westerns I've never watched. If you think John did the right thing in defending the Rants and shooting the Laramie gang despite the Abigail complaining, or should he not? He did the right thing. Because that rancher did right by John, and so he just wanted to return the favor and help him, and he also ended up helping him get a loan. So that's good news. Episode 1 of Overdrive is finished. Link is on the community tab of my channel. Feel free to check it out, and feedback is appreciated. Let me take a look, DL Gaming. Hold on one second. I don't know if I'd be much into those games, Elliot, but I'll look into I would look into them. Okay. Does Pro ever play with viewers? Oh yeah, all the time. Hey brother, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I have a question. What's the difference of the Khmer Rouge and Communist Albania? I would say that the Khmer Rouge were worse, but they were both, you know, both pretty bad. I mean, the guy, the dictator of Albania, he was an admirer of Stalin. The thing is, Albania was China's close, China's only communist ally in Europe. That's the thing about it too. Probably LA Noire, D. White. Have I played Ghost of Tsushima? Yes. Hey Maurice, how are you? Sup, Pro? I've started Fallout 3 for the first time, and I'm enjoying it. I'm going to play New Vegas and Fallout 4, or after 3. Thank you, Thank you, Edwin, for the super chat. Yeah, that's probably the best order to play them in: Fallout 3, New Vegas, and then Fallout 4.
Hey, you don't belong here. Nothing to report here. Hey, you get out of here.
My favorite Fallout 3. And the reason Fallout 3 is my favorite one is because I just like the dark atmosphere of Fallout 3. I also like how you can play after the ending in Fallout 3. Wait, this is the wrong guy we tied up here. Okay. Thank you, Edwin. I'm not gonna get into that, Cody. Like, the current events, I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, it's like Fallout 3 just had more of that darker atmosphere to it, like that grittier atmosphere than New Vegas did. Yeah, the characters do make some funny faces. Who do you think is the most customer-caring game company? Oh, that is a hard one, Maurice. Well, I talked about that a little bit earlier, Phoenix, with Escape from Tarkov, crap. I would say Tail Worlds are pretty good. They're the people who make the Mountain Blade games. They're not really greedy. I would say that Rebellion, the developers of Sniper Elite, they're not greedy either. My night's going good, Phoenix.
Shit, I was almost free. ¡Ay, Dios mío!
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of great guns in Fallout New Vegas. Do you think Lance Vance was Vic's downfall? Yes, he was, Nathan. Well, like I said, Cody, is I'm just not gonna get into that. You know, the current politics and all that stuff. I'm just not gonna. I'm not. I'm just gonna stay away from that. Am I gonna 100% Fallout 3? I'll try to.
Chingada madre, güey.
No, I haven't played them, Quandale. I played them at friend's house, but I never played them, no. New Vegas, The Bar, Browning High Power, and 1911, which are based on Browning designs. Yes, it does. Also has the NCR service rifle. The NCR service rifle, I'm trying to remember what that's based on. People think that it's an M16, but it's not an M16. It's not an M4 either. I think the NCR service rifle is based on a variant of the AR-15. I would have to look it up because it's an older gun. It was like a gun that was made in the 1970s. It was available for civilians, I know that. So it's a I saw a video on it some time ago, but it's... Does anybody in the comments know what the NCR service rifle is based on? What gun that is? So what do you think now, that Red Dead is kind of abandoned? I'm eventually going to make a video ranking all the updates on this game, but this update, there's no chance of this game coming back, unfortunately. The service rifle is based on a mismatch of both the AR-10 and AR-15. Oh. Claude will do anything for money, Maurice. Where's your video on annoying people in Red Dead Online? You mean like the most annoying players in Red Dead Online? I guess I just haven't had time for it. I do want to make a video top 10 most annoying types of GTA Online players. That video will be exciting to make. Wait, target is escaping. What the hell? What? Where the hell are you going? Oh, they can run.
Suéltame, please let me loose. Ay, santísimo. Vete a la mierda.
I already know what number 1 is gonna be on that list. Mario. I don't know who that is 269 made. No, my trolling the scammer video is actually coming out in a few days. It's not coming out in May, it's actually coming out at the very end of April, so Who do you think is the most immoral GTA protagonist? Claude. Thank you for a stock guide. I made 1.4 billion. No problem, McCookie. Which guide are you talking about specifically? Yeah, just deliver the bounties. I'm surprised that your retail store is still open despite the no price matching rule. The only reason that my retail store I think is still open is probably because of the pharmacy, because they have a very big pharmacy. That's probably why the store is still functioning, but yes, Vito. You know what I think is so stupid about a lot of these retail companies? What I think is really stupid about a lot of these retail companies is, you notice how they suck up to the customers so much? Like, the customers will just demand so much crap, and they'll just give it to them constantly. Like, the customers will demand the stupidest things, and these companies will give it to them, like, constantly. But when it comes to actually giving their employees, like, a good raise, they fight their employees so much on that. So, like, they will give customers, like, the stupidest freebies, the stupidest nonsense. Like, anytime a customer's like, I'm gonna call corporate and stuff like that, they're gonna give you gift cards and all this other crap and constantly give you just sales prices on everything that the customer wants, basically losing so much money. And they're gonna do all these returns on all this stuff, on, like, customers will take, like, 90% of cookies and eat them and return them, and they'll still take it and lose tons of money. But then when it comes to giving their employees a raise, they'll fight it so hard. The GTA Assassination one. Also, love your videos. Thank you, McCookie. Thanks, man. Do you think Manhunt 2 is the most violent game of all time? Manhunt 2 is one of the most violent games of all time. I don't know if it is the most violent game of all time. I think the most violent game of all time that I've seen might be Outlast. Outlast might be the most violent game I've ever seen. Worst gift you've given, received? Um, I can't really think of a bad gift that I've given. You know, I don't. You know, whenever I give people like, you know, gifts, I don't cheapen out. So I can't think of a gift that I've given that's bad. But I can tell you what the worst gift I've gotten. I can tell you that. The worst gift that I've ever gotten was in my retail company that I used to work in. What happened was we had this program where people would basically sign up for emails, and if you signed up for the email program, you would get like a 20% off coupon. And what would happen is you would get, like, you know, offers. And it wasn't really like spam, I would say. It did help you save money, but the primary reason the company wanted customers to sign up was because they believed that customers were more likely to, you know, spend if they got all these savings. And what happened is, I convinced most of the customers to sign up for the email program. And how I basically convinced customers to sign up for the email program is I did a simple thing. And the simple thing, what I did was, if a customer had multiple items, I told them, you know, if you want to give me your email, you know, I can give you 20% off. We can take this first item and then do a second transaction for the rest of your stuff, and I can just take 20% off of it. And I would do that tactic, and because of that, I convinced, like, so many customers to sign up for their email, like, more than anybody else. And what happened was the manager was, like, telling me, like, oh, Patrick, you're going to get a good reward for this. Like, you know, I'm going to make it up to you, you know, blah, 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 this. And what ends up happening is, like, a couple months passes by, I did not get any kind of reward, and I talked to my manager, and I said to him, I'm like, you know, am I gonna get the reward for, like, helping out with the emails? And you know what he says to me? He's like, oh, crap. That's literally what he says. And then he does something on his computer, and he's like, there, I did it. You know, check your portal. And so I logged into my portal through my company. Do you know what my manager gave me for getting the most amount of customers to sign up for the email program? He gave me a $5 gift card to the store, $5 store credit to the store. That is my reward for getting most amount of customers to sign up for the email program. I got more people to sign up than anybody else. I got $5 in store credit. That is the worst gift that I have ever received in my life. And I will tell you, though, that after I got that, I stopped collecting emails after I did that. Like, I stopped. And I used to tell customers, like, you know, you can do two transactions, I'll give you 20% off on the second one, but I stopped doing that. I just did everything as one transaction, and I would tell customers, you want 20% off, and they would just say nope, and that was it. I just moved on. And what ended up happening is, the second I stopped collecting emails as much, guess what? The assistant manager got on my case, and he's like, you know, Patrick, you gotta start collecting emails again. What's happening? I'm like, customers don't want to sign up. Well, you have to be more persistent. It's like, yep, no. So it was at that point, I was like, no. Your manager probably worked for Rockstar Games. Yeah, he probably designed the Blood Money update and read it online. The Super Mutant Behemoth in Fallout 3 is the second most dangerous heavy hitters. The most deadly heavy hitters, the Point Lookout DLC, Swamps. The most annoying enemy that I think... The most annoying Fallout enemy is the Cazadors, I think. I think the Cazadors in Fallout New Vegas, I think that's the most annoying enemy I've seen.
Customers are impatient, so let us not keep them waiting too long. My work is done. Yours begins. This is an ordinary batch, but let me tell you, it is still precious. One must never disrespect one's people,
Yes, I'll do the DLC for
no
Fallout.
matter
I will.
How stupid, uncultured, and ugly they are. Such people deserve our best service. Vous n'êtes pas d'accord? So you will drive carefully.
Thieves Landing fence, okay. Not that far of a ride. Is Ansburg the worst town to live? Yes. Even worse than Van Horn. Those towns like Ansburg existed in that time period. They were company towns. They were basically set up to just rob the worker and scam the worker. That was the whole purpose of towns like Ansburg.
Inspect that wagon. Bring it here. Slow down. Let's stop that wagon.
I'm right near the drop-off, so I'm just gonna head to it. Just fell off. The heavy hitter I'm referring to in Point Lookout is literally only the size of Fox, and they're not a super mutant, 7 feet tall only. They are much faster than Deathclaws and Behemoth fighters. Heavy hitter. Let me look up this enemy on the Fallout wiki, because I'm trying to remember if I remember this enemy. Heavy hitter in heavy hitter. No, it seems it's a it's a perk. Hang on. Okay, so I guess it's not the enemy type then. What is the name of the enemy? I'm hoping to see Michael one last time in the last DLC. I think they'll probably do something, McCookie. The Swamp Folks. I was thinking it's the Swamp Folks too. I was just Ooh. What enemy are you talking about, London? Why is there a need to amend the constitution of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth in the 1790s? Was it because of the abusive and corrupt nobility? And what if Stanislav II approved of it? Well, the aristocrats had way too much power in Poland. The here's the thing about this is the aristocrats, they were a class of people that existed, like, you know, I would say the last of the aristocrats pretty much ended, like, near the end of World War I, or I would say up until, like, World War II even. But just be very grateful that we don't have aristocrats today. Because the aristocrats are such a scummy class of people. They were like, they don't have the same power that they used to have in the past. You know, we do have rich people that are, you know, extremely powerful and elitist. We definitely have that. I'm not denying that. But there is a difference between, there's a difference between the rich people today and the aristocrats back then. The difference is that today, today, a lot of the rich people do not come from a specific bloodline. Back then, people would come from a specific bloodline, and because they were from that specific bloodline, they would get all these privileges. They would get basically, common peasants, poor people would be denied the exact same rights as them. So you would not be able to go to a college, a university. You would not be able to advance in the military if you were like a peasant. If you were from those specific aristocratic bloodlines, you had just a role automatically in government. You weren't elected or anything like that. So situations like that do happen. There are rich people that are definitely privileged, but it's not to the extent that you used to have it back in the day. Back in the day with the aristocrats, it was actually the worst. See here. I think my chat... Hang on, did my chat freeze? I think it might have. Swamp Folk, Bruiser, Hunter. They either are wielding an axe or unarmed. They hit much harder than a little behemoth. That's not an exaggeration. They do more damage, and they're 7 feet. Huh. The Swamp Folks. I remember there's that woman, that one woman who has, like, you make moonshine for her. She's, like, one of the Swamp Folks that isn't hostile. Pros the Bill Nye of history. Well, thank you, but... hey, Pro, I want to say thank you for grinding videos and the other content that I enjoy watching. I managed to hit my dream goal of $100 million in GTA. I will do the same in Red Dead. Thank you, Taco, but I do appreciate the super chat, but don't go for 100 million in Red Dead, because that's going to make you go insane. If you want to go for, like, a really good goal, go for $1 million in Red Dead. That's basically like 100 million in GTA, but don't go for 100 million in Red Dead, because that's going to make you go insane. Why did Kazimierz Pulaski and Tadeusz Kosciuszko choose to help the revolutionaries during the American Revolutionary Wars? Because they hated privilege. They hated aristocrats. That was pretty much it. I believe that Kosciuszko actually was an aristocrat. I think he was, but he hated most other aristocrats. You know what I'll tell you about Kosciuszko? I'll tell you a really sad thing about him. Let me look up what year he died again. Kosciuszko returned to Poland, and he ended up dying later in Poland. But okay, so what I was saying about Kosciuszko, the really sad thing about him, and this is he's one of the American forefathers. He wasn't really a politician. He was more of a general, but I would still consider him one of the forefathers. He's one of the forefathers that was actually not a British American. He was actually originally from Poland. But about Kosciuszko Kosciuszko is a very wealthy man. But despite being a very wealthy man, he was actually extremely against slavery. He did not believe in slavery. He was very against it. He believed that slavery should be ended, it should be abolished, and he believed that free slaves should become citizens of the United States. And what happened was he basically fought with a lot of politicians in that time period to end slavery. I'm trying to remember which forefather he begged to end slavery. I think it was Thomas Jefferson. I think he was which one? I think it was either Thomas Jefferson or John Adams that he asked to end slavery. Because it was like the second or third American president that he talked to. John Adams was against slavery. Thomas Jefferson was more complicated with that. Thomas Jefferson kind of supported slavery, but he was a bit conflicted near the end of his life. But anyways, about Kosciuszko. So Kosciuszko is a very wealthy man. He did not own slaves. He wanted to end slavery. He fought a lot of his life to end slavery. And one of the reasons that he was so anti-slavery was because Poland, Eastern Poland, the largest chunk of Poland, was actually occupied by the Russian Empire. And what the Russians did when they occupied Poland is they basically banned the Polish language. So you were not able to speak the Polish language in Russian-occupied Poland. You were supposed to speak only Russian. They were basically trying to Russify Poland and destroy Polish culture. And they even banned the Catholic Church. They only allowed Russian Orthodoxy, which Poland was mostly a Catholic nation. And what happened is, if parents taught their kids Polish, what would happen is the parents would actually be deported to a work camp in Siberia with the kids. So they would be exiled and deported to a work camp. And, you know, Kosciuszko saw a lot of those injustices going on in Poland. And that's probably one of the reasons that he was mainly against slavery, because he saw the injustices of it in America. But going to what I was saying about Kosciuszko. So when Kosciuszko died, he left in his will money to build schools for freed slaves, to be able to teach them how to read and write. He set up charities. Charities for freed slaves. He set up land for freed slaves so that they could have their own farms. So a lot of this stuff he left in his will. And the really sad thing about this is, a couple years ago in Washington, D.C., couple years ago, a bunch of stupid, idiotic, dumb protesters. They went to his monument and they just threw graffiti all over it, just destroyed it, and they wrote like racist on his monument. And I was like, are you people idiots? Like, this guy never owned slaves. This guy, like, fought a huge portion of his life to end slavery, and these stupid protesters just basically destroyed, like, his monument. It was just such a stupid thing. I think it was Washington, D.C. where it happened, but it was like, it's like these protesters, sometimes I'll say about them, is that they are so stupid that, like, they see a statue of somebody that, like, lived hundreds of years ago, and they automatically think that that person was a slave owner just because they lived hundreds of years ago. And so they didn't even know who this guy was. They didn't know that this guy had, like, fought a huge portion of his life to end slavery. He didn't own slaves, and he left, like, millions of dollars in his will to help freed slaves. And just because they saw, like, a statue of some guy from, like, 200 years ago, they thought that he was racist, and so they went and destroyed his statue. It's such a stupid, like, such stupid protesters, so I say. Such a stupid group of protesters, my god. I don't know what, like, honestly, it's like the people need to be better educated on history. Like, you know, if they want to go, like, you know, if they want to go protest, like, a statue, like a Confederate statue, like, you know, go ahead. You know, I don't care if the Confederate statues are removed. Like, you know, they caused a civil war and they had slaves. But, like, you know, trying to, like, you know, destroy a statue of, like, you know, Kosciuszko, who, like, you know, fought his entire life to end slavery. That's, like, it's just, that's one of the stupidest things that I've heard. Chat window is acting up too. Wait, what's happening? Yeah, the chat was freezing, I was noticing too. The Bruiser Hunter also runs into a bunny hop matter. It makes him so fast, even if you had a sprint mod in Fallout 3, he will still outrun you fast. Ooh. I actually really liked Point Lookout, but I think my favorite map expansion was the Pit. The Pit, I think, was my favorite one, Lendon. In the Godfather novel, I think it explains that Sonny was great wartime Don and was given to Talia's a hard time that Barzini to set up a trap with Carlo to get him killed. Well, the problem with Sonny was his temper. That's what I'll say. The problem with Sonny was his temper. I think that each of the characters, I think that each of the brothers has, like, a really negative trait that is pretty much their downfall. I think Sonny's downfall was his aggression. I think that he was too aggressive and he didn't think. I think that Fredo Corleone, his weakness was his personality, that he would get easily manipulated. I think that's what it was. I think that Michael, his weakness was probably his coldness. The fact that he was such a cold person. I think that's ultimately I think that was ultimately his weakness too. That he didn't have much compassion in him. If you notice, though, Vito was, like, the perfect Don, because Vito had, like, the perfect personality. He was respectful. He was compassionate towards people who were his friends, who didn't cause him problems. He was fair. He didn't backstab people. He didn't screw people over. He was only aggressive with people who were aggressive towards him. So it's like Vito was, like, the most perfect Don. Like, if you made a deal with Vito, he would honor that deal. Like, no matter what it was, he would honor it. If he made a deal with you, he would honor it. So, like, Vito was, like, the most perfect Don. Let me see here. You told me about this on Twitter, Pro. It was during the Summer of Love in 2020 that event made... Well, yeah, I will say, though, like, I don't want to get into the politics, really, of it. I tend to stay away from the politics, Mario. But it's, like, honestly, it just personally pissed me off as, like... It just pissed me off as a Polish American that I see these protesters who just go up to this statue. They go up to this statue of, like, a Polish American general, and they just go and just destroy the statue, you know, writing graffiti all over it that he was racist, when the guy had fought most of his life to end slavery, and he left millions of dollars to help freed slaves. It was just, it's just... He did, Mr. Green. Hey Pro, watching your video over the years helped me get 1 billion in GTA and has allowed me to help others. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks, man. What nationalities were the protectors who vandalized the statue? It was everybody. It was everybody. It was a group of protesters. It was just, it wasn't a specific race of people. It was just a group of protesters. It was Antifa. Those were the, if you want to know who did it, it was Antifa who destroyed the statue of Kosciuszko. They vandalized it. I think the statue was fixed, so was, you know, brought back up, but it was the Antifa group that did it. They were the ones who vandalized the statue. They literally vandalized the statue and, like, wrote racist over, like, a guy who fought most of his life to end slavery. Never owned any slaves. Supported ending slavery, fought to end slavery, and they literally destroyed his statue. Stupid. Let's see here. Thoughts on American Psycho? I've never watched that. JM58. You know what, I'll tell you though, there was, were the people involved arrested or charged? No. As far as I know, they weren't. However, though, there is a video on YouTube that you can watch, and the video, what basically happened was there was a Polish guy who was right next to the, right near the statue, like right when the vandalism happened, right when the statue got attacked, and, that Polish guy was really pissed off about the whole thing. And he actually confronted the protesters, and it's on video. And he says to the protesters, like, you know, why did you do this? And they say the guy was a racist, like he was a colonizer. So, like, they see like a statue of some guy that, like, lived 200 years ago, and they automatically think that he was like a racist, he was a colonizer, without, like, not everybody who lived back then was a racist, not everybody who lived back then was a colonizer. There was good, honest and honorable people that lived back then too. And what the Polish guy ended up saying to them is he started telling them the history about, like, Kosciuszko and how, like, the guy fought to end slavery. He donated millions of his dollars to help freed slaves. He set up schools for freed slaves to teach them to read and write. He bought land for freed slaves so that they could be farmers, they could own their own land. He believed that slaves should become freed slaves should become American citizens. So, and the thing about that is that a lot of people that lived back then, even the people who were against slavery actually did not want freed slaves to become American citizens. But Kosciuszko was different. Not only was he against slavery, he fought that freed slaves should become American citizens. And like I said, this extreme, like, far-left group just, like, went and just destroyed his statue. And so what the Polish guy who was interviewing the rioters who basically destroyed his statue, he says to them, all of this what I basically told you guys. That, you know, the guy fought most of his life to end slavery. He left millions of dollars to help freed slaves. He built schools to, you know, to teach freed slaves to read and write. And one of the protesters said to him, well, if he was against racism and he was against slavery, then why did people destroy his statue? And I was thinking to myself like this. It was like, it's like because you guys don't read history. That's what it was. These protesters, they don't know the history. Like I said, they're so ignorant that they see like a statue of somebody that, like, lived 200 years ago, and they're like thinking, oh, that because that guy lived, like, back then, he has to be like a bad person, and they just went and destroyed his statue. I'll tell you something though. I think it's the I think it's what American city is it that has a statue of Vladimir Lenin? Is it Seattle? I think it's Seattle. Is it Seattle? Let me look up. Is it even still up? Yeah, the statue of Lenin still is up. It's in Seattle. And so that's the thing is that these protesters will destroy a statue of somebody who, like, lived 200 years ago, one of the people who helped found this country, who, you know, fought his entire life to end slavery. They'll destroy his statue, but, like, somebody like Vladimir Lenin, who basically, you know, killed millions of people, created an oppressive system in Russia. He was the founder of communism in Russia. They're not going to destroy that statue. They're going to let that statue stay up. Yes, there is a statue of Lenin in Seattle. I am not joking. Go and Google it. it. Just Google it. Statue of Vladimir Lenin in Seattle. This is a statue to a mass murderer that is in it's in Seattle. And so it's like I said, the protesters will destroy a statue of Kosciuszko, but they won't destroy a statue of Lenin. So that's what I'll say about it. You know, the thing is though is that I remember that when I was in college, I actually didn't even know that there was a statue of Vladimir Lenin in America. And one of my teachers, he was a law professor. He actually brought that up, that there's a statue of Lenin in Seattle, and he said that he was surprised that people don't worship the statue. That's what he said. My professor was not a supporter of communism or anything like that. He was making fun of people who like think that Lenin was a good guy. He was basically saying, "I'm surprised people don't worship the statue." What do you think of DoorDash going bankrupt? Is DoorDash going bankrupt? It's the first time I'm hearing about this. Yes, Spec Ops The Line. It's actually a heavily requested game. I might play it on the channel. Yo, bro, I started a tree cutting company in southern Utah, and it's pretty tough getting work. Some people get mad when getting estimates, yeah. But honestly, like, it's better to give them an estimate than just do the work and then charge them for whatever after. At least they know what they're paying for. Here's what I would do if I was you. I don't know anything about tree cutting. But if I was you, what I would do is I would look up what the rates are of everybody else that's in the area. So, like, all your competitors, just look up what their rates are. And just charge a little bit less than them, just so that you can still make a profit. And just make sure you have that prepared. And just, like, tell the customer, it's like, you know, I'm giving you a better rate than, like, everybody else. And, like, here's an example. And you can tell the customers, if you don't believe me, you can look it up. That's what I would do. It's like, tell them you're giving them a better rate, and if they don't believe you, to look it up. Because that's what I would do if I was you. I'm doing good. How are you, Just? I've never heard of that one, Gunner. Oh, it features the Burma campaign, huh? This is a black Arabian horse. By the way, Pro, just wanted to let you know that you're a genius. Well, thank you, dude. I don't consider myself a genius. But thank you. Okay, wait, I know where this guy is gonna be. I don't even need to use the thing here. I think I'm gonna find him. Okay, yeah. I know all the locations that he spawns in, so it shouldn't be that difficult to find him. I'm trying to remember, he spawns in like this little like oh, you already found him. Okay, good. Oh, they spawn behind the house. Yeah, they spawn some nice back there too. Pro history question. Why did the Austrians betray the Polish after Poland helped them against the Ottomans? Also, 8 months as a member. Time goes fast. Thank you, Greatest Within. The thing about this is, that's why a lot of Poles have a very negative view of Austria throughout their histories, precisely because of that reason. Is a lot of Poles, like one regret that like a lot of Poles have is whether Poland should have helped Austria, because it's the fact the Ottomans were invading Austria and were trying to conquer Austria, and Poland came by and helped them and helped stop the Ottoman invasion. And then how did Austria repay, Poland for helping them? 100 years later, they teamed up with Prussia and Russia and invaded Poland and just conquered it. That's how Austria repaid Poland for helping them save their country from the Ottomans. And that's why a lot of Poles, Poles are very proud of the fact that they helped defeat the Ottoman Empire, but a lot of Poles also do have regrets about whether they should have helped Austria. I still think, if you want my opinion, I still think it was the right decision to help Austria. Even though Austria betrayed Poland 100 years later, I still think it was the right decision to help Austria. Because if the Ottomans had invaded Austria, they would have killed so many innocent people. And so it was still the right decision to help them, because the Ottomans were worse than the Austrians at that time. But it was such a scummy thing that they did, that they just backstabbed Poland 100 years later. You know what a really ironic thing about that is that when Poland actually got partitioned by Prussia, Austria, and Russia, the Ottoman Empire was actually one of the few countries in the world that did not recognize the partitions of Poland and still recognized Poland as a sovereign country. Who's more evil, Joker from Dark Knight or Dmitry Raskolov? Joker, I would say. Yeah, they would have, Pranav, but it probably would have taken them some time before they would have done that, because they wouldn't have had the resources to invade Poland just yet, but... Our DoorDash driver drove 1 hour and got a $4 tip. What? The most that I've ever had a DoorDash driver drive is 15 minutes for me. And whenever or Uber Eats, I don't use DoorDash, but Uber Eats, whenever I buy anything on Uber Eats, I give a 25% tip. So that's what I always do. I always do 25%. And if it's raining though, if it's raining or snowing, I'll do 30%. So I'll do even more. Controversial topic, but what are your thoughts on U.S. imperialism? Are you talking about now, or are you talking about, in the past? Which ones are you talking about, Mr. Nowhere? You don't have to super chat me again. I just like to know which time you're talking about. Thank you for the super chat. Oh yeah, I used to watch Law & Order when I was a kid. I watched a lot of their episodes when I was a kid.
Pull in your horns.
How about past? One person wants to know now. Here's the thing, is that, the U.S., the imperialist things that the U.S. did in its past, I would say, is probably the Mexican-American War. You could argue on that was kind of imperialist, because it was Polk, I think it was Polk that was the, Polk was the president at that time. He provoked Mexico into a war. The Texas War of Independence, I don't really consider that an imperialist war. But the Mexican-American War, you could argue that was an imperialist war. The Spanish-American War was kind of like, it was kind of like half imperialist and kind of half not imperialist. Because, like, for example, like, Cubans had better lives, you know, afterwards, because Cubans were heavily oppressed by the Spanish. So afterwards, Cuba was kind of like more of a protectorate of America, where it was, it still had its own government, but if America felt the need to, they could intervene in Cuba directly. Philippines is a bit different. Philippines was a protectorate of America, but America intervened way more in the Philippines than they did in Cuba. So the Philippines had much less independence. Puerto Rico is a bit more complicated. Some people wanted to be, you know, a territory of the United States, some people didn't. I guess it depends on who you ask in that regard too. But the most I would say that when it comes to what about Hawaii? Hawaii. Basically, what happened with Hawaii is that Hawaii, how it happened is it was a bunch of American farmers that settled in Hawaii, and the American farmers that settled in Hawaii, they were building up a bunch of farms, they had a bunch of companies. And the American farmers were the ones who actually pressured the U.S. to annex Hawaii. Now, what I will say about this is that the U.S. government actually did not want to annex Hawaii at the start. I think that it was Grover Cleveland, correct me if I'm wrong, Grover Cleveland, I think he was the president, and Grover Cleveland actually said that that's imperialist, you know, annexing Hawaii is imperialist, and it's against what America stands for. Because Grover Cleveland believed that America fought against an imperial power like Great Britain, and that America should never become an empire. So I think it was Grover Cleveland that did not want to annex Hawaii. The guy who took power after Grover Cleveland, I think, annexed Hawaii. I would have to look up what the president was afterwards. But Grover Cleveland did not want to annex Hawaii. And here's the thing is, though, to play devil's advocate here in this regard too, if the U.S. did not take Hawaii, do you know what would have happened if the U.S. didn't take Hawaii? If the U.S. did not take Hawaii, what would have ended up happening is that Britain would have taken Hawaii. Because Britain already had a presence in Hawaii, there was actually British businessmen that were in Hawaii, and Hawaii, James Cook, also, while James Cook did not discover Hawaii, he discovered it for the British Empire. And so James Cook, he was an explorer that was in Hawaii, like, you know, over 100 years before America annexed it. And so Britain was already moving to secure Hawaii. So Hawaii was that, you know, when you really think about it, Hawaii is a very strategic location when you think about it, because it's like, it's more closer to the United States, but it's an island that's, you know, very far out in the ocean, and it's kind of in between, you know, the Pacific and the United States, or North America and South America. So anybody that controls Hawaii, it's a very strategic location. So that's what I'll say, is that if the U.S. did not take over Hawaii, Britain would have done it. I'm not saying that it was a good thing that the U.S. took over Hawaii, but I'm just saying that if the U.S. did not do that, Britain would have 100% took over Hawaii, and possibly even Japan. Japan might have taken over Hawaii. Now, here's the thing is, if Japan took over Hawaii, it would have been much worse. Much worse. Japanese occupation of Hawaii would have been much worse than American occupation or British occupation. It would have been much, much worse. So that's ultimately what I'll say about it. I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm just saying that if America did not take Hawaii, it would have been taken by Britain, or possibly even worse by Japan. And that would have been, if Japan took over Hawaii, it would have been really bad. Much worse. Let me see here. Syria is a sad case. Turkey, Russia, Iran, and USA. Yeah, what I will tell you is, the person who was asking me earlier, the most imperialist thing that America has done in modern history, I would say, is the Iraq War. Probably the Iraq War. Not to get too much into politics, but the Iraq War is probably the... I remember when I was a kid, I was like 8 years old when that war started, and it was over such stupid nonsense. It was how old was I? I was 3. Yeah, so I was 8 or 9 years old, because I was born in 1994, so I was 8 or 9 years old when that started. So it was, I remember that whole thing, and the thing is, though, is that most Americans at that time were heavily swayed by the propaganda, by the media, because I remember that even though I was like 8 years old, the vast majority of people supported like American intervention in Iraq, like when it first happened, because like the American public was like convinced that Iraq was like building all these nuclear weapons and they were gonna like attack America or like destroy all the surrounding regions, and it was like, this man is like a danger in the Middle East. He has like, you know, atomic weapons. He's gonna start like a nuclear war. We have to go in, we have to get him and stuff like that. And so most people believed that at that time, but it turns out there actually was no WMDs. And not to get into conspiracies here, but I personally think that that it was all a lie. I think that the U.S. government's claim is that they didn't lie about the Iraq War. They claimed they didn't know whether he had WMDs or not, but I think they knew that he didn't have WMDs. I think they knew that he didn't have weapons of mass destruction, and I think they lied, and I think they used that as an excuse to go into Iraq. That's what I think about it personally. Now, it was now the leader of Iraq, I would say he's a horrible human. He was a horrible human being. You know, Saddam was a bastard. Excuse my language. But you know, do we really have the right to just invade another country when we want? Like, oh, there's a dictator in another country, so does that mean we just have the right to just go and invade it whenever we feel like it? So that's what I'll say about that. Ultimately, it was just a stupid thing. The Iraq War had really nothing to do with 9/11, despite people thinking that it does. The U.S. government linked it a lot with that, but it really had nothing to do with that. And yeah, that's what I'll say about the Iraq War. The Afghanistan, on the other hand, I'll tell you, Afghanistan was I don't consider Afghanistan an imperialist war. I think that Iraq was an imperialist war, but I don't think that Afghanistan was an imperialist war because of the U.S. did not gain anything from being in Afghanistan. The U.S. gained a lot much more in Iraq. You know, they had military bases that were set up in Iraq. They had a pro-American government. Afghanistan, they really didn't gain much in it. It was about just getting rid of the Taliban that were in the country. The Taliban had directly attacked America. They had helped, you know, fund the organization that attacked America. And the Taliban were more of a threat to world peace than Iraq was. So the Taliban were supporting terrorists all across the world. So they were much more of a threat to the world peace than America was. So Afghanistan was a much more justifiable war. Iraq was not a justifiable war at all. It was just a stupid, you know, dumb, pointless conflict. It was just, you know, stupid. And the thing about this is that, like, you know, I'll tell you something, 50 years from now, when people are going to be reading history 50 years from now, they're going to be looking at us and they're going to be like, wow, these people were a bunch of idiots. They just invaded a country for no reason. So that's basically what's probably going to happen. And as for Syria, the person that was asking me about Syria, the thing that most people get wrong about Syria is the control of Syria is not about oil. That's what people get wrong. People think that the reason that all these powers are intervening in Syria is primarily because of oil. It's not. Here's the thing: is the reason that Russia, America, and Turkey are intervening so much in Syria, it's not because of oil. And it's not for democracy either. It is imperialist, but it's not because of oil and it's not because of democracy. It's about the land. That's precisely what it's about. Because if you look at Syria, Syria has much less oil reserves than Iraq, for example. Iraq has way more. The reason that Russia, Turkey, and America are so obsessed with Syria is because where Syria's geographical position is. Syria is like in the center of the Middle East. Like it's like Turkey is right on top of it. Saudi Arabia is to the south of it. You know, to the west of it is Israel, and you know, to the right of it is Iran. So it's ultimately about just the geography of the region. It's about the region itself. That's why they're so obsessed with the region. And it's unfortunate because Syria is a victim of American, Russian, and Turkish imperialism. It's ultimately a victim of all three of the powers. All three of the powers are just doing stupid things in it and are causing a lot of problems in Syria. Now, Syria has a really scummy leader. You know, the leader of Syria, he's a horrible human being. You know, he's a mass murderer. But the thing about that is the future of Syria should be decided by the Syrian people. Not by, like, these foreign powers. Not by the Russians, not by the Americans, not by the Turks. It should be decided by the Syrians. That's what I'll say about it, is all of these powers that are intervening in Syria, Turkey, America, and Russia, they all have ulterior motives. They have ulterior motives for why they're in Syria. Because I'll tell you something. If the U.S. was concerned with preserving democracy in the Middle East, do you know what regime they would be overthrowing? They would be overthrowing the regime of Bahrain. Bahrain is a brutal dictatorship, but
Bahrain is not being overthrown. Why is Bahrain not being overthrown? Because Bahrain is pro-American. That's precisely why. Bahrain allows, like, American military bases, and it's the same with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a brutal regime, but it's pro-American. And so because of that, they're not calling for Saudi Arabia or, you know, Bahrain's government to be overthrown. So Syria has a horrible, evil leader, and I hope the dictator of Syria eventually gets overthrown, but it should be without American, Russian, or Turkish intervention. The Syrian people themselves should just directly overthrow him. There should not be any kind of, you know, foreign intervention in that conflict, because when foreign powers go into it, the factions that take over Syria afterwards are going to be basically puppets of whoever that foreign government is that's controlling them, whether it's Russia, you know, America, or Turkey. Let me see here. What's my sleep schedule? Oh, it's really bad right now, man. I'm completely screwed over. I'm bad on that. Saudi Arabians were flying the planes. Unfortunate case about the Middle East is USA is being the policeman of it rather than helping its citizens here. Yeah, yeah, I would agree with. I would agree with that. Thank you, thank you, Grace. And Saudi Arabia is also intervening in Syria, but Saudi Arabia does not have any military personnel in Syria. They might like fly aircraft in Syria, but they don't have military personnel. America, Russia, and Turkey have military personnel in Syria. Yeah. Okay, let's get over to Armadillo here. It's okay, Gunner, but the ending was just awful to that game. Where does Big Smile Elite from Sleeping Dogs rank as a main antagonist when comparing him to the GTA main antagonist? Which GTA main antagonist are you talking, Jorge? Speaking of history, what about the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, especially when the U.S. armed the Taliban? The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, that was because the Soviets wanted to have their puppet government in Afghanistan. But here's the thing about that, is that, did the Americans... Now, I can't stand communism. I hate communism. But did the Americans make a mistake by supporting the Mujahideen? Because it wasn't... The Taliban didn't exist yet in the Soviet-Afghan war. The Taliban are actually a splinter faction of the Mujahideen. But was it a mistake that the Americans armed the Mujahideen? Yeah, I think it was. I think it was a mistake. The Mujahideen were a bunch of unstable rebels that you just you could not trust. The Mujahideen hated America. They didn't like America. They only sided with America because they hated the Soviets. That was what it was. So that was so the Mujahideen was a massive was a massive problem supporting them. It was I did like how Black Ops 2 showed that the Mujahideen were bad guys too. Black Ops 2 showed that both of them were bad, the Soviets and the Mujahideen. So I did like that. But they were just both, I would say, not good. Debunked? What's debunked? What are you talking about, dude? But let me get over to killer capture the target here. But also is one of the reasons that the American public supported the U.S. Intervening in Afghanistan during the Soviet-Afghan conflict was because of Vietnam. That was the primary reason. Because what the Soviets did in Vietnam was the exact same thing that the U.S. did in the Soviet-Afghan war. It was pretty much the exact same thing. When the U.S. was in Vietnam, what Soviet advisors went to Vietnam and they helped train the NVA, the North Vietnamese Army, and they helped train the Viet Cong, which the Viet Cong were pretty much a terrorist organization. Now you can be against the Vietnam War, but the Viet Cong were not good people. They were a terrorist organization. So you can argue that the Vietnam War was not a good intervention. It wasn't a justifiable war, but the Viet Cong were not good people. They were horrible, evil people. They mass murdered their own people as well. And what happened is the Viet Cong did such horrible things with a lot of the Soviet weapons that they got. That's why they had so many AK-47s. It was primarily because of the Soviets. So the Mujahideen, the Viet Cong were responsible for the vast majority of the traps in the Vietnam War. When you see all those traps in like Vietnam War movies and games, the Viet Cong were responsible for those traps. They were the ones who did those things. The Viet Cong were such horrible people that they would use children. They would even use children as soldiers. They would have children smuggle weapons because children were much less likely to get targeted. They were just awful, horrible people. And so many Americans had died in the Vietnam War there were so many Americans that had died, and so many Americans had gotten tortured. The torture was just so bad, and a lot of Americans blamed the Soviets for this because, like I said, the Soviets were the ones who had armed and supported the Viet Cong, and so many Americans died because of that. And so when the Soviet Union basically went into into Afghanistan, that was basically like America looking at that conflict and just saying, you know, this is our moment for revenge. So that's ultimately why America supported arming the Mujahideen, is because it was revenge on the Soviets. It was basically, the American public wanted Soviet blood for Vietnam. That was pretty much it. Like, so many Americans had died in Vietnam, and they suffered so much, and so they just wanted Soviet blood as revenge for what they did in Vietnam. Okay. Okay. Let me see here. Give me the bounty. I'll take the bounty then.
I'll hunt you down.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would say that to an extent also, Mario, but I'm just not gonna get into that current conflict that's just going on over there. That's just as everybody has an opinion, so I'm just gonna stay away from talking about that. Thank you, Mario, for the super chat.
Ugly toad.
Robbie, what were you talking about earlier? You said that something I said was debunked. What were you talking about specifically? Iran was a democracy in the 1950s, but you Americans stopped it. Sure, it is true. I don't deny it. America did, you know, the CIA did a lot of really stupid coups. Like I said several times, if I was like an American president, I would have abolished the CIA. But it was, But do you know what people don't talk about? What people don't talk about is that the Soviets and the Russians also did their fair share of coups as well. I know what the CIA did was horrible, but the Soviets also did a bunch of coups. The Soviets basically created North Korea, so they were responsible for the North Korean government being established. The Soviets caused a coup in Nicaragua. They caused a coup in, what was it? There's a bunch of Afghanistan. Afghanistan had a coup, the Soviets. The coup in Burkina Faso was also backed by the Soviets. Was it? I think it was either Ethiopia or Somalia. It was one of those two countries. They also caused a coup. So there was plenty of coups that the Soviets had caused as well. It's not defending the American coups, but I'm just saying is a lot of people tend to ignore the Soviet coups when they're talking about history too. Okay, let's get over here.
Oh my God! Help! Oh shit!
The chat, I know the chat is freezing sometimes. I don't know why it keeps doing that. You missed my advice? Wait, what was it, Isaiah? What? Remember the teachings of George Santayana, those who forget or remember their history are condemned to repeat it. Wise words millions need to learn. My dad taught me when I was younger.
Just throw him in the cell. Fair price. No haggling.
Fallout or Elder Scrolls? I think I like Elder Scrolls more, but I like Fallout as well a lot. I don't think they're local syndicate. I think there's something else, Authors or Soldierist. Stop, you violated the law. Yup, that's from Oblivion. What do you mean the Soviets created North Korea? When Kim Il-sung was born, all the stars aligned and a double rainbow was over the area that's now North Korea. They taught me that. Yeah, I know what you're making fun of. You're making fun of the North Korean propaganda. But the North Korean propaganda does not teach that about Kim Il-sung. They teach that about Kim Jong-il. They say that Kim Jong-il was born on top of Mount Paektu, which was North Korea's most sacred mountain, and that it went from winter to spring, and 2 rainbows appeared when he was born. That's what they're taught in North Korea. But the reality was that Kim Jong-il was not even born in Korea. He was born in a poor Siberian village when his father was on the run from the Japanese. That's where he was actually born. CIA did in fact say they weren't uninvolved in the Kennedy plot. Honestly, like I said, the CIA is probably the most known American intelligence agency worldwide, and it's not known for good reasons. The CIA is just hated so much worldwide because it just caused so many problems in so many countries and did such bad things. Okay, they take a lot of damage. Oh, this is the bounty target right here. Is the IA in GTA 5 the CIA? Yes. I don't believe a lot of conspiracy theories, but I think there was something very strange about the Kennedy assassination. Who's worse, the Enclave or the Galactic Empire? Probably the Galactic Empire, because they just caused way more chaos on a large scale, but... Thank you, U20, for the super chat. No, I never played Daggerfall. What do you think of Ufe, from Max Payne 3? Why do you think Ufe from Max Payne 3 are untrained cops? Because remember Max says that that you give some untrained idiots like armor and let them go around playing soldier. What a lot of people don't know is Ufe is actually a parody off of Bope, which Bope is a is a police tactical unit that's actually in Brazil, and Bope has been involved in numerous corruption scandals, where they have actually, you know, murdered gang members and blamed it on other people, stolen drugs and money from gang members too. So that is what Ufe was ultimately based on. Oh, you sent a super chat? I'm sorry, Snake. I didn't see it. Let me look. Do aliens really exist in Area 51? No, they don't. Because the reason that aliens, what I would say here is the reason that I don't believe that aliens exist in Area 51. What I think is in Area 51. I think it's some kind of, you know, secret, top secret weapons or projects. That's what I think is in Area 51. I don't think that it's aliens at all, because think about it this way: if there actually was aliens in Area 51, right, and those aliens are smart enough to like travel all the way to Earth, and their people got kidnapped, don't you think the aliens would send like warships here to like destroy Earth because our government had like kidnapped aliens? So I don't think that there is aliens in Area 51, because if they were smart enough to get here, then more aliens would come looking for them and would kill all of us for taking them. So that's what I would say is there's no aliens in Area 51, because then more aliens would have come and killed all of us. Oh. What do you think crashed at Roswell? I'm not sure. We don't know what it could have been. But I don't think that it's aliens. I think that aliens possibly do exist, but I don't think they visited us.
You did good with this. Tumbleweed thanks you. That's the bounty, as agreed.
What if they are on their way here? Well, it is possible. Do you believe in demons? I'm not sure. Okay, let's get to the camp then. Here. If they are alien laptops or gaming PCs, they're Area 51. You're funny. I want to do something funny here. Oh, it worked. What I was gonna do. I wanted to see if that would work. I'll keep that in mind, Gunner. 1 second, everyone here. Okay. Well, I don't consider myself funny. I've never been one for being funny. I've always been better at explaining things, talking about things. That's what I've always been good at.
Christ's sakes. Well,
Which betrayal surprised you the most in the video game? Probably Big Smoke's betrayal. That's a good question, Pro193. I'm not sure. They can really be anywhere.
you damn idiot.
What's your message, Zach? If we just patched up the aliens and sent them on their way, would the aliens be like, you're all right? No, probably not. Favorite game of 2006, Oblivion or Scarface?
People will be real excited to see him go. Thanks. I believe you'll find that figure to your liking.
Worst game I've ever played as a kid? Maybe Brink? Brink was one. That was bad. I didn't like Brink.
Trying to be inconspicuous with that man ain't working.
I recently finished watching your Great Ace Attorneys playlist, and it was really fun listening to your commentary during that time again. Strongheart really is a scumbag. Yep, he is. It was the best when he just got completely removed at the end and he got pissed. And when Herlock Sholmes appeared and he couldn't get him. What the hell is Brink? Probably best you don't look it up. Brink was a game that came out on the PS3 back in like 2011. It was a game that had a lot of hype but failed. No, I never played Crusader Kings. April 25th was Anzac Day. Happy Anzac Day. That is the... That I know what Anzac Day is. Anzac Day is the day that the Australian and New Zealand forces entered in the Gallipoli campaign during World War I. That was a really brutal campaign. That was a really rough. It was really rough terrain, and it was hard to get through that. Probably play a little poker here now.
Ride to Hell Retribution is the best PS3 game of all time. Yeah, and Ride to Hell Retribution is a game... I'm going to do a playthrough of Ride to Hell Retribution one day. I'll do a playthrough of it on the channel. I know people are going to probably cringe and laugh at that, but that's the point. That's why we'll do it. Is Ride to Hell Retribution even backwards compatible on Xbox One? I would have to look that up. Let me just see. Is it? Let's see. Is it backwards compatible? Oh, it's not backwards compatible. No. Okay. Is it even on Steam? I had to look that one up, but that's... Okay, That's bounty, huh? Oh no, come on. I was so close to that. That would have been... Oh, that was so close on that. Oh, come on. That was... Oh, this I'm gonna get destroyed now. Isn't right 1%? Yeah, it is. No, it's doing a bounty. It's kind of fun. It's not Okay. Normal aim. Okay. Okay, there we go. I killed everyone. Okay. How many people do I have to kill to get through this? There, I did it. Okay. I killed everyone.
Well, I guess that draws a line under that one. Here's what we're paying for corpses.
Okay, we're cool now, right, guys? Okay. Okay. I would play Miles Edgeworth for Ace Attorney Investigations. Oh, there was a super chat. I'm sorry. April 24th was Armenian Remembrance Day too. Oh, that was the about the Armenian genocide. The Ottomans had murdered over 1 million Armenians. That was during World War I. And you know what's really sad about that is that the Turkish government today denies that genocide. They claim that it never happened. Triple headshot, yeah. It sucks that I killed the guy that I was trying to get the bounty on, but I ended up killing everyone.
No, I'm gonna watch the Fallout TV show this week. Okay, I can't play this. Okay, Jack and 4. I'll check on this. I have 1 pair. Okay, I'm definitely gonna win this hand. 100% now at this point. I always bet small just so they get a little bit in there, because if I bet max, they're probably not going to go in. So it's I can... Oh my god, look at this hand right now. Look at this hand. Look at this right now. I'm going to just... They have no chance of beating this hand. Let's see who's willing to bet. Some people are going to fold. Folded. Folded. Everyone folded. Oh, but I'm still winning. I can use that to my advantage. If I see people are cautious, they fold a lot too. These cards aren't bad. So in retrospect, the U.S. arming the Mujahideen was for short-term revenge, but in the long term came back to bite us 20 years later. Man, biggest case of short-sighted revenge ever. Yep. And that's why, honestly, it's never a good idea to arm unstable rebels. That's just what I'll say about that. Because look at we've armed rebels 3 separate occasions, and those 3 separate occasions, it's ended in disaster. We armed rebels in Afghanistan, and it ended in disaster. We armed rebels in Libya, it ended in disaster, and we've armed rebels in Syria, and it's ended in disaster. So I think we should probably stop arming rebels. It's probably not a good idea. I have a pair here, a pair of 2s. It's not that great, but it's better than nothing. Oh, happy National Veterans Day in Finland, Razu. Checking this. I will play GTA Advance, yes. Wow, look at the cards. We have the exact same cards. Me and her. Ah. I will, Michael. I just don't know when.
Okay, Jack and 8. Let's see what we get here. Okay, check this. No, I'm not an atheist, Emu. I'm an agnostic. Okay. There's no blackjack or dominoes, unfortunately, Blip. It's okay, Emu. Don't worry about it. Man, these cards suck. Okay. Ooh. I probably shouldn't have bet that. Yeah, and they abandoned this game, unfortunately, Legend. There's so much more they could have done with this game. How's everyone doing? Sadly, I got here late, but 36 months, 3 years. Thanks for sponsoring my channel for 3 years, Patrick. Patrick, do you remember when I told, I remember when we first started talking, it was on my SOCOM 1 playthrough, remember, from like 3 years ago? And we were talking about the Thailand missions, too, I remember that, that too. 3 and 4, it's here, but, I remember how I said that SOCOM 3 takes place in Poland, and when I do the Poland missions, I'll translate it. SOCOM 3, I'm planning on doing in, like, June, and so we're gonna have a lot of fun with that, and I hope you check it out, because I know you liked SOCOM 1 a lot. Let's see what we got here. Oh. I'm gonna fold. This is not good. Here. These cards, no, this is not good. This is not good at all. Yeah, folding. The 2007 Hitman film was way better. The one of Timothy Oliphant. I don't think SOCOM 3 took place in Warsaw. It took place in the Polish countryside, and it took place in, it wasn't Warsaw, it was it Gdańsk? I think it might have been in Gdańsk. Or Wrocław. It might have been in Wrocław. Who do you think is scarier, Anton or Claude?
Well, Claude Speed is the guy from GTA Advance. It's not the same Claude in GTA 3. Well, thank you, Patrick. Thank you for that. Somebody probably has a flush. Watch. I'm betting you that somebody has a flush. Somebody has a flush here. Watch. It's probably gonna happen. Let's see if I'm right on this. Does somebody have a flush? Yup, I knew it. See? I knew it. I knew that somebody had a flush. I knew it. I actually learned to play poker from this game. I played this game a lot and I learned the rules. The second I saw those community cards, I knew that somebody was gonna have a flush. Oh, these cards. Okay. Is it true that Britain removed all their road signs during World War II to confuse any potential enemies that might have invaded? I have no idea on that, but that honestly seems like a disaster because it would confuse your own people too. And especially when you need to move supplies and stuff like that around the country, that would be a bad idea. When is the stream ending? Oh, probably after this game here. 2 and 5. Okay, let's see what we got here. I could get a, I could get a straight here. It's possible. Okay, let's see. Yeah, not good right now. What are you talking about, Darfren? No, we're folding. Not even any point in showing the cards. Yeah, it's 100% folding. Folding this. Okay, 4 and 9. They did. I'm gonna have a lore video on that eventually, Drifter Kids, talking about that too. 4 and 9. See, I hope I get at least a 9 here. Let's risking a little bit here. Within like a week, next week, Ranav. Oh man, look at those cards, those community cards. That's not good right now. Favorite single player activity in Watch Dogs? Maybe the drinking games. Those were actually a lot of fun in Watch Dogs 1. Thank you, Renav. Somebody's gonna have a flush here. Oh my god, there's 3 aces on the table right now. Okay, somebody probably has a flush. Actually, no, nobody is gonna have a flush. Okay, I'm not betting that. He's probably bluffing. He's probably bluffing. That guy's probably bluffing. He probably doesn't have good cards, but I'm not gonna risk it either way. Let's see. Let's see if he's bluffing. Why are they betting all their money here? Full house aces over jacks. Yeah. 3 aces. Why did she go in with those cards? Okay. I'm gonna have the next part of Ace Attorney uploaded right after this stream, Wasabi, also. Can inflation reverse? Yeah. But if you want my opinion, the best way to reduce inflation is to cut the government. Stop spending so much money. The government needs to stop printing and spending so much money. Lower taxes and also cut the government. The government should not be as big as it is right now. That'll probably lower inflation. I mean, if you look at what Argentina is doing, Argentina is like, you know, cutting so much of their government, and it's actually lowered their inflation by a lot. I'm getting crappy cards constantly. Okay, I got a matching card here. At least there's that. Okay, I'll see you, Emu. Take care. Oh, I don't get into politics. I stay away from that, Isaiah. So, like, I'm never gonna tell you guys how to vote. That's for you guys to decide. I'm just a gaming YouTuber here. Stay away from that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna win this hand. Oh, come on. You're no fun folding. Registered for what, Wasabi guy? Okay. I'm gonna win this hand. I'm gonna win this.
Win more, yep. There we go. Oh, wasabi guy, okay. I'm getting out of here. I just won a, one there, yep. My thoughts on the channel that made a video of you witnessing a car crash. The thing about that is I actually saw that video, and I saw that video and I actually thought that it was funny. I thought the meme was actually funny. So I did see it myself. No, at least it wasn't like one of those stupid videos that makes fun of my voice. So I did think it was funny. And I also see your name too, and here's the thing is, the reason that I'm not gonna ban you from this chat, even though you have that name, is because I believe in free speech, even if that free speech is making fun of me. So, just letting you know on that. Okay, well, what the hell is going on in this town? Is Claude a psychopath? Yes, he is. What is the most that you can make on one full sale of moonshine? Like $260, $250, that's the most that you can make. It's a 3-star moonshine sale.
I'll make you beg like a little girl. Don't let that SOB get away. Oh, we're losing him. Oh, listen, I didn't see your face, all right? Take that son of a bitch down.
What'll it be?
What is this guy doing? Okay, what's going on? Okay. What is it? It's not you, it's just a random dude on Instagram. Thanks for not banning me, though. What's a random dude on Instagram? What was that? Okay, what's it? Thoughts on Western movies? I haven't seen any of them in some time. I gotta watch them. Who is Poland's greatest leader? I would say maybe Marshal Piłsudski, who fought for Poland's independence. Piłsudski didn't abuse the peasantry, the poor, like a lot of the other Polish leaders did. Will I ever be playing Skyrim? One day, maybe, yeah. Oh, I can just sit here. I don't know. It's gonna be sometime in July. We'll have to wait and see for that blip. Fallout 1 was on PC.
You won't be a man for much longer.
Okay,
Heard the Armadillo sheriff yell a bastard that he is sold out to the Del Lobos.
okay,
I guess I'll be wrapping up the stream. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask me before I go? No, I haven't platinum Red Dead Redemption. How do you know so much about wars and countries? Can you tell me how you do it? I just like to read a lot.
You just let me know if you'd like something.
Okay. My question is go to sleep. Yeah, I have actually messed up my sleeping schedule so bad that if I wanted to actually go to sleep right now, dude, I couldn't. I have to get it under control. I'm gonna stream GTA 4 on Monday. Sunday we'll do GTA Online. It'll be uploaded in like the next 30 minutes, Wasabi Guy. For a guy who says he's not a genius, you are smarter than most people I meet. Well, thank you, Eager. How do you deal with people that don't like you outside of YouTube? What do you mean? Are you talking about me specifically, or are you talking about you? Like, I'm a bit confused. Is, like, somebody bullying you? Can you explain?
We're gonna get us a new marshal around here, and soon.
That's how I am. I can never sleep on time. And Colonel Radic, I actually know where you're from. You're from Killzone 2. That's where you have that name from. But about Colonel Radic is the most annoying boss I've ever fought in a video game on Elite difficulty. Like, Elite difficulty, Colonel Radic is so annoying. That boss battle is so ridiculous, and like Rico constantly keeps going down, and you have to constantly keep reviving him. It's so annoying. It is ridiculous. It's that boss battle on Elite difficulty in Killzone 2 is such a nightmare. No, Blip, they've abandoned this game. Is Fallout 3 a hard game? At times it can be when you level up, not really. You're the best person I know. Max respect for helping that guy on GTA Online when his connection was crashing. Well, thank you, Phoenix. Are you excited for the Paul vs. Tyson fight? Yeah, I am, in a way, but I want to watch it because I want to watch Logan Paul lose. So that's what I'll say about it. Or is it Jake Paul? I don't even remember which Paul brother it is. But it's but I just want the Paul to lose. Well, yes, unfortunately, they call me names and bark at me in school halls. They call me nicknames, and in my drama class, when they were asked questions, they always said they hate me. I would ignore them. Don't even give them any kind of attention. Don't even acknowledge them. But if it gets really bad, I would tell like a a counselor or a teleteacher. That's what I would bet. I would tell at that point. And don't feel like you're snitching or something like that because you should not have to be bullied. No one should be doing that to you. How can one leave the urge of constantly purchasing retail brands? Well, what are you talking about? Jake Paul will destroy him. I don't know about that. Mike Tyson's one of the greatest fighters ever.
Hooch aplenty and the food to soak it up. What do you have?
What games do you recommend to play? I'm new to PS5. Well, try Red Dead Redemption. It's not a PS5 game, but you can play it. GTA 5. what else can I recommend here? Hitman is fun. I play Modern Warfare mostly for DMZ. Rise of the Ronin is a good one that came out, but if you don't like, sword combat games, you might not like it. Gray Ace, Apollo Justice, I'm having a lot of fun with. Crime Boss, I'm actually enjoying this game. I bought it on PS5 again, and Crime Boss actually got a lot of free updates. So they actually added a lot more content to the game, so I actually might make a video revisiting the game. But that's what I'll say about that. Yeah. Unintentional roast, confusing Jake Paul for Logan Paul. I don't remember which Paul brother it is, Ian, but regardless, I hope the Paul brother loses. But do you know what the unfortunate thing is? The fight is like what, May or June, right? That's when the fight is. When is the Logan Paul Mike Tyson fight? What date is that? What date is it?
Sam must have killed about half dozen.
July. Okay. I'm probably gonna bet money on Mike Tyson in that fight. I'm not gonna bet like an insane amount of money. I'm probably gonna put like $50 or $100 on Mike Tyson. So if there's like a way for me to bet on that fight, I'll probably bet on Mike Tyson. What time do you usually sleep till, Pro? I sleep until well, I slept like. Here's the thing about me. Last night, I went to sleep at, like, midnight, and I slept for just 3 hours. And then after 3 hours, like, when it was 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up, I couldn't go back to sleep. I just couldn't, and so I stayed up most of the day, and then, like, it was fine. Like, I was up early in the morning, and then when it hit, like, maybe 1, 2, 3 p.m., I was, like, really exhausted. I laid down for a little bit, and I slept for 5 hours again. So that's what I'll say about that. I love the way he dresses any hero character in any game. Thank you, One Man Army. Everyone got pissed at me, but that night, everything in those questions turned personal against me. I couldn't have done anything. Have you tried talking to your parents about this? Try talking to your parents and your close friends. They might be able to help you with this too, but I'm sorry about that, Aki. Nobody should be bullying you, and don't feel like you're snitching because those guys shouldn't be harassing you. Thoughts on Modern Warfare 3 2023? Look at my Modern Warfare 3 review. I uploaded a video that it's like the worst game that I've ever played, like the worst Call of Duty that I've ever played, I should say. I don't know. I've never really bet on a boxing fight, so I don't know. I just want to watch that fight because I want to see the Paul brother lose. Which Paul is it? But regardless, I just want to see them lose. A lot of them, it's possible, David.
Got hot food and cool drinks. What'll it be?
So I guess I'm gonna be ending the stream here, guys. Though, thank you everybody for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and you guys also boost my confidence a lot, and you guys help me out, especially when I'm dealing with a lot of stuff. So thank you guys for the support. We'll do a GTA Online stream on Sunday. On Monday, we will be doing the GTA 4 stream. So the GTA 4 stream we'll do on Monday, and I'm gonna have that video. There's gonna be a video in a couple days of just me pissing off a scammer. So in a couple days, there will be a video of just me pissing off a scammer. You guys are gonna find it really funny. But I called them up, and I started trolling them on the phone, and they got really angry. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do drop a like, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.